All right, hello and welcome. How's everyone doing on what I hope is a fantastic Tuesday, July the 8th? Jeff, 4th of July was this past weekend. How was your week? Oh, yeah? Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Okay, hold on a second. They're saying you have no sound. Okay, we fixed this. We fixed this, everyone. Hold on. We had this whole thing and we fixed it. So I don't know why all of a sudden it is claiming not to be fixed. Well, not claiming. Oh, I believe her. I'm just dumbfounded. Oh. Okay, so just before the stream started, now there's two Matthews on the screen because I'm fixing audio settings over in StreamYard. Okay, so guys, just before the stream, StreamYard is not appreciating Firefox anymore, and for whatever reason, it also will not remember the selections I made. Just ignores it completely. So every single week, I have to come in here and go through. Look how many. Look, you can't see. There are 18 different audio selections I have for my speaker, and they're not in any sort of alphabetical order. They're just complete willy-nilly. And I do not understand why it is like that. Okay, so Jeff, go ahead and try saying something now. Oh, I've completely broken everything. That is par for the course. So let's see, Jeff, I can't seem to... This claims to be playing, but it's not playing. Hey, there we go. Everyone should be hearing some Jeff. No, they can't, because I am a dirty, rotten liar. I'm just going to have to add, guys, there is so many... This one issue makes so many things for me to have to memorize for why it doesn't work. Okay, now we should have Jeff.
Fourth time is a charm?
Fourth time, and there we go. I see Jeff over there. Unbelievable.
Well, they're saying still no Jeff. I don't know if that was a delay. Maybe they can hear me now? Still no Jeff. I don't know.
Okay, I just turned on the stream.
Hello?
I heard you.
Hello?
I heard you.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah, there's Anna's Jeff. Sorry about that, everyone. I will try and make a mental hook. There's one more thing I gotta fix. And this one, like I said, this one's not on me. It's on me, but it's not on me. Yeah, that's a good idea.
It's not on me. It's on you.
Yes,
it's on me. Okay, gotcha.
Exactly. It's on me to fix each week, but it's not my fault that it's... Oh, hey! Thank you, Richard Sky, for subscribing. Subscribing. Oh, gosh.
I turned up my volume because Melphus said I was a bit low. So I turned mine up. Hopefully that's better.
So, Richard, I am giving you just the primo. This is it. I hope this is what you want, because this is what's going to be happening. Technical issues, and I get words wrong nonstop.
Especially names.
Especially names.
Are wrong.
Oh gosh, I try so hard. Hey, so speaking of names, no. You know what? There's probably a better time to.
Probably true, Omni. I turned myself up. Matthew turned me down.
Exactly. Just like we talked about this. It was like the Doctor Who, where they're both reversing the polarity. No, we're not reversing the polarity. We're confusing the polarity.
Confusing the polarity, yeah.
And Josh, I amazingly do not sleepwalk. I have night terrors, but I don't sleepwalk. And no, it wasn't OBS. It was StreamYard. So every week, and I don't understand this. You would think in StreamYard, I just selected, this is how I want my audio settings to be. I want my audio output to go here. I want my microphone to be here. And I want my camera to be this camera. Every single week, it loses all of it. And I do not know why.
Now, I have a question for you. Last week, did you use Chrome or Firefox?
You know what? Okay, so I use Firefox.
Okay, maybe next week it will remember now that you're using Chrome. Yeah, fingers crossed, you know?
Yeah, so this drives my son crazy. He's like, Dad, why do you use Firefox? I'm like, well, I just like it. Like, I'm sorry, that's what I grew up with. And, well, not grew up with, but that was the pinnacle of internet technology during my most formative internet years, which admittedly is when I was older, but I mean, the internet was kind of a new thing. So cut me some slack here.
Wow,
and so,
wow.
i5.
Use IE5. It's more stable.
Oh, shots fired. Come on now. Yeah, so, Melphasis, that is what Jeff was saying he's been using recently. Brave.
Yep, I like Brave a lot.
And Kay Roberts giving a Vorlon wink, thank you. So Brave is, correct me if I'm wrong here, Brave is the spiritual successor to Opera?
Is it? I've not heard that before. Opera's still around. Brave is a Chromium-based browser.
Okay.
But it's very privacy conscious. It'll strip away all those tracking cookies and block all those pop-ups and yeah, it's very privacy conscious.
Hey, wizards don't wear pants. Welcome to the stream. So yeah, we were talking about how you had a lot of rain the 4th of July.
Well, yes. Actually, where I live specifically, we only got about 2.5, 3 inches of rain. We had some street flooding. Wasn't too bad where I live, but just across town, they got upwards of 15 inches of rain in about a 6-hour period.
Wow.
There was one person that passed away because of it, sadly, in our city. But you heard about the rains further south where they got up to like 20 inches, right?
I did. Yeah. And that was tragic. This is like a 1 in 100 year rain event sort of thing that we got, I think, or flood.
Yeah, exactly.
I say 1 in 100 year. Technically, it was 50 years ago the last one happened, but I think that this specific is still considered a 1 in 100 year flood event by insurance standards. Yeah. But it's just tragic that the floodwaters started, and from what I understand, they told these kids, "Oh, just go to your cabins, everything will be all right," and the flood wall just came, and it was so much higher than anyone could have predicted.
Okay, Omni, I turned up my volume. I don't know if that's better. I'll try to speak up a little. I don't know if that'll help or not, but.
And looking at, so honestly, this is one of those weird things where it should be about equal, but I see like some little volume bars over in OBS, and they look to be about the same between Jeff and me. So y'all let us know if I need to turn me down a little bit, turn Jeff up a little bit. Yeah, it's definitely on my end, Omni. But yeah, that was such a tragic event, and it's especially tragic that I've seen so many people trying to politicize this and be like, "Oh yeah, this is because of Trump," and it's like, how is a meteorological event on any president? Like that'd be as insane as saying it was Biden's fault that there's hurricanes. Like no.
Yeah, you're right about that. Well, they're trying to blame him because he is, the budget cuts. There's supposed to be less meteorologists now, and they're cutting FEMA and that sort of thing. Well, those cuts aren't even supposed to go into effect until October.
Yeah.
So, how can they blame these cuts on, this tragedy?
Yeah, on something that hasn't
gone
happened
into effect.
Yet. Yeah.
And they said the warnings didn't go out. Well, they did go out. The warnings went out like a full 4 hours before the real rain hit.
Mm-hmm. It was just
I don't
so
know.
much more than we predicted.
They usually have like 2 or 3 meteorologists on hand at that time of night. There were 5 that
Oh,
night
wow.
in that area. So it
And
wasn't a shortage of people working. But
and people need to understand, like, Texas is having a really weird year in terms of weather.
we are.
This is one of the most mild and wet years, at least, I want to say at least 2 decades. Maybe not quite that long. There was one year, I was still at a place called Prime back then. That would have been maybe 15 years ago. And that was the year that we had drought for a lot of years. Things were looking really bad. And then it rained so much the Trinity River was flooded. It was insane. These floodplains were completely full to the point of breaking. Like, there were several water projects specifically built because of how much rain we got that year. And that was like 15 to 18 years ago, I want to say. So this, and even that, the weather was a lot hotter. The temperatures have been so cool this year, and then we've gotten so much rain that, usually we have floods in Texas because the ground isn't saturated, and so the water just runs off. Right. This year, we're getting like too much saturation where the ground can't absorb. Like, it's been a weird year, and it had a tragic consequence where, like you said, they had 5 people on staff, and no one predicted this sort of event.
Right. They're predicting maybe 10 inches of rain. They got 20 down there.
Oh, and that was because the tropical storm stalled out over it, right?
Yeah, there was a tropical storm that came in over Mexico, and then it moved into Texas, the remnants of it. And, we were talking about this on Discord, about Houston, how it got just slammed with rain from a former hurricane.
Yeah.
It just stalled right over the city. So, these things can do that. They can just slow down and come to a halt and just dump tremendous amounts of moisture.
And a lot of people, they don't understand really how complex weather is. And so you'll see like those hurricane prediction paths. Mm-hmm. And people are like, okay, we know exactly where a hurricane is going to go. We know what day it's going to get there. And they don't realize, they're like, well, this is the most likely. But
right
behind the scene, there's like 5 most likelies, or 5, not most likely, 5 highly likelies. And they say this is the one that's most likely, and this is the most likely time frame it's going to happen. And those you have to update nonstop.
Well, they have so many different models. There's the U.S. model, there's the European model, there's the Canadian model, there's Japanese model, and they all have different predictions. They all may be close to each other, but rarely they right on top of each other, especially with like hurricane tracks. So there's some deviation, and then from run to run, the individual models can have different predictions on each run.
I didn't know that one.
So like the U.S. model, it's put out 4 times a day, for 6 hours apart. Let's say the midnight run could be different from the 6 a.m. run. So, each of the models can disagree with itself. So there is a lot of unpredictability with this.
Yeah. So I mean, that tragic thing that happened, and I'm immensely glad. I did see one of my friends was driving in that area, and there's just a fleet of HEB trucks doing disaster relief. And so
that's great.
The response of people in Texas and around the world, for the most part, even, like there's always going to be those really crazy people who are like, well, I think this is Trump's fault, and even Trump controls the weather now. Wow. But
well, I've seen people cheering for what happened.
Oh, that's sick. That is very sick. I miss the days when I was gonna say. So while there are people like that, I am very glad that by far and large the response of most people has been so supportive. Where the Christian community is praying for these individuals, which I mean a lot of people are kind of poo-poo that idea. But I'm like, if you legitimately believe that there is a God who cares about you and a God who controls everything, which you guys know me, I do believe this, then why wouldn't you communicate with him when you believe that he has the power to help people? So even if you don't believe that, even if you don't believe that, you should never poo-poo the idea of people praying, which I understand that people don't believe this, don't share my beliefs, but use a little bit of logic and understand that these people, when they pray, are doing what they believe is the most effective thing in that moment. That doesn't mean that that's all they're doing, because as you see, there's been a lot of people heading down there to provide actual relief and support. So it's not all they're doing, but as a Christian, it is the most important thing you can be doing. And I am very pleased to see how many people have been taking a more mature response and actually providing support.
Most of people have, yeah.
Yeah.
Most of them have.
And I miss the days where we could have a difference of opinion on the political spectrum and we didn't assume that the other side was like an enemy to us. At some point, we went from being like, oh, hey, you know what? Yes, we have a differing of opinions on like what is the most effective means forward to support our own people. And at some point we said, we don't have that shared desire anymore. We believe that it's always the other side. We believe that the other side is out to destroy America. And therefore they are enemies to us. They're enemy combatants in our own country. And I really miss the fact that we used to be able to have civilized dialogue or dialogue at all.
Right. That's sadly missing right now.
And yeah, I mean, we can differ on opinions, but you got to agree with President Clark.
Okay, Mr. Night Force.
Yeah, the Night Watch. That's what I've been calling it. He has the Night Watch armband.
We heard you last week.
Did I really say Night Force at one point?
You did.
I kept seeing everyone in the chat saying that. I'm like, am I saying it wrong? Is it Night Force? I felt like I was going crazier than usual. But no, apparently I said Night Force. And as you guys know, once I get a name wrong, I am committed to keeping it wrong. So I will continue to call it Night Force. I believe you. And Texas is saying he thinks it started with the 2000 election. Oh, that was the hanging Chad election. Yeah. And I don't know if blame is the right word. I do see a strong correlation between the rise of the Jon Stewart style of show and the inability to see other people as fellow Americans. Because starting with Jon Stewart, an entire generation was raised on a comedian who is treated as if he was an intelligent political person. Now Jon Stewart, in his defense, as he matured, and he's an older man now, I disagree with him on almost everything, but at the very least, I do see that he has become more politically savvy over time. Like, you can't be in politics and not become more savvy. And he is an incredibly intelligent man now. But at the same time, like, back in the day, he was just a guy who took absurd positions, and people, an entire generation, like, grew up on that and thought that this was legitimate news and not just satire op-ed pieces nonstop. Have I seen the clip of him finding out just how much red tape there actually is out there? No, I haven't.
No, I haven't either.
And this is another good thing I can say about him, because I do try to find good things to say about people that I disagree with so much. He is someone who is willing to change his mind in the face of evidence.
I have seen him do that. You're right.
And so I have to give props to him, because there are so many people who, when confronted with something, will double and triple and quadruple down and never, ever, ever admit they're wrong.
Yeah.
And yeah, Memphis, social media does certainly cause problems, because then you have people like me who are not in the political realm, and I'm throwing out political opinions. Now, I mean, it is a appeal to authority to say that you can only have a political opinion if you are like 4-year journalistic degree, stuff like that. But I'm just saying, like, I recognize that I shouldn't be the one you get your political opinions from. Does that make sense? Yeah, like,
your opinion is just as valid as anyone else's.
It's true, but I also recognize that I don't put in the time to as deeply understand political issues as other people do. And so if you wanted to talk the merits of the Gulf War, like, I can have an opinion, and it's going to be an opinion. It's going to have some facts to it. But at the same time, like, I'm going to be intellectually honest enough to say, hey, you know what? There's smarter people than me out there to trust better.
I have to say that about myself too. Hello, gamer grad.
How you doing?
Welcome.
Oh, you know what? Shifting away from politics. Speaking of games and also politics. Did
someone say games?
I don't know if you've heard of the Stop Killing Games movement.
Oh, I haven't.
Okay, so this is a pretty cool movement. It's been going on unofficially for a long time. More officially, I want to say within the past year, there's this guy named Scott Ross, and he does the Mind of Freeman stuff. And it's a joke YouTube thing of what would be going on in Gordon Freeman's mind from Half-Life as you go through the game.
Okay.
And so that's where he got his rise to fame in the online sphere. But he also has a degree in, I think he said, criminal justice. Maybe I'm wrong on that one. But anyway, the idea of the movement is we need to enact laws to stop killing off video games. That online only content is detrimental to the gaming industry, such that whenever the game server goes down, you can no longer play that game at all. Kind of like the online always DRM stuff. And the motivating factor behind this was there's a game called The Crew, which was it was a driving game, a racing game. And even though all the files were effectively local, they shut down all of it, even the single player portion, so that no one could play this game ever again. And they only announced that they're going to do it 3 months before they shut down the servers. And they had some absurd number of people still playing the game at this time, like million something, more than a million, 1.8 million, something like that. Again, this is just me off the top of my head remembering stuff. So he
dangerous proposition.
Yeah, and so they're just like, okay, 3 months, all gone. And this is a monthly subscription fee. It's my understanding.
Okay.
EA, I believe, was EA Ubisoft for the people who shut it down. But the big thing is that they never gave any indication that the game was shutting down. Like, they sent out an email to the people who already had the game, but they didn't tell them on the game page on Steam. And so right up until the last minute that you could play the game, they sold it without telling you. Like, hey, you literally have 60 seconds to play this game that we are selling for $80.
That's so underhanded.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so not only would you think that's underhanded, but the European Union, the laws that are written there also would say, you know what, I think this might be underhanded. And so he's been working on getting 1 million signatures for people who live in the EU to bring this before Parliament. And he reached that number finally. But there's been some pushback, and I don't want to go into the drama of it. There's just a very famous individual online for giving opinions on software stuff. And he has a vested interest in the current model of gaming, where like the games that he is currently selling as a CEO of a company, CEO, president, board member, just kind of their advertising of the company. They make money through this style of game. So he does have a vested interest in one side, but he like really went after this. And it blows my mind that anyone could say, hey, you know what? I think that we should allow predatory consumer practices to be okay. And anyone trying to create a law that would prevent such predatory practices, in my opinion, I'm not a lawyer, should be mocked and ridiculed. Totally crazy to me. And this is great to me because for a long time I've argued that we need to do more to preserve games. And this is something that really blows my mind, because what they're arguing is like, oh, hey, you're licensing a music in the game for like the game developer only has a short window that they can license that for. And so you can't let games go on forever because you can't license it forever. And it's like, well, yeah, that's true under current law. But if the game developers were required by law to have an end of life plan to hand over things to you so that your game that you bought could have some semblance of operation for as long as you own that game, then they're going to change the law. Like, there's zero reason to think that nothing will change from today. And that's where a lot of the pushback from it comes. Well, by law today, this can't work. Well, yeah, that we agree. That's why it needs to change. So very, very glad to see that this is going on right now. And hopefully things change in the EU, because if they change in the EU, odds are it's going to trickle down to us.
Yeah, they'll probably come here. They can't have two standards.
Yeah. And it's really crazy. And yeah, it does sound a lot like EA, Texas. It's really crazy to me because they are they're presenting a game as being sold to you, when what they really mean is that they are selling you access to a game for as long as they want you to have access to, but they're not going to tell you how long that is.
Yeah. And
so what was the latest Star Wars game that came out? Jedi something? Is it really...
I don't know.
Maybe someone in the chat knows the latest Jedi Star Wars game. It was one of these games where you're yet another Jedi who avoided Order 66, and you're trying to navigate life as this quasi Jedi Knight person, and you level up. Let's see. Was it Jedi Survivor?
Don't know.
It wasn't released in 2023. There are so many times where I'll be doing something only to realize what I thought was yesterday was in fact like years ago.
I'm surprised no one in chat is saying what it is.
I think it was Jedi Survivor, but it is very expensive. As I recall, it was like in the $80 range when it first came out.
Ooh.
Because it is a AAA game. Okay, I got it pulled up right now on Steam. It is typically $70 on sale for 80% off right now. That's awesome. But my understanding is that this is yet another game where even though they are selling it to you for $80, you're not actually owning it. You're only purchasing a limited time license access to it. Oh, Fallen Order. Thank you, Melphasis. Fallen Order was the one I was actually thinking of. And one of the things that this law is pushing for is that game companies need to be upfront. Are you buying a game or are you buying a limited time access? And if it's a limited time access, that's fine in my opinion, provided they're not charging me as if I was buying a game. Like a full-on forever. I went down to Walmart and bought Super Mario Brothers,
Mm-hmm.
Because that's what that price indicates to me, that I am buying a video game. Now, if all they're saying is, hey, you're paying $40 a month, you're paying $30 a month, whatever the month subscription, like Netflix, where I can rent a game for however much time I want. Hey, that's great. I think a lot of people would like that model. But if they're presenting it to me as if I'm buying a physical game that I get to have forever, that's a big deal, and it needs to change.
I agree with you. Well, it's kind of like it's not a 1-for-1, but it's like going out and buying a DVD, Blu-ray movie as opposed to streaming it.
Yeah.
You know, you purchase it for streaming, watching. Maybe you bought the right to watch it whatever you want. You got it like a Vudu license or whatever. But that goes away eventually.
It's true. And that's the thing about Netflix. Like, I accept that anything I watch on Netflix, I don't own. And so if they lose the license to stream it, well, I'm inconvenienced, but I don't care because I haven't lost anything really. Now, what I do care about is like when you buy stuff on Amazon and then they no longer have the rights to it. And so you can't download that anymore. That's where I go, whoa, we have a problem.
Yeah, there's a problem there. Exactly.
Okay, and Melphasis is saying that Survivor is a sequel to Fallen Order. Okay. So it was Fallen Order that I was thinking about. I didn't even know about Survival, to be honest.
Okay.
And Kay Roberts is saying if sold isn't owned, then pirated isn't stolen. I've been seeing a variation of that phrase kind of in the past week or so as this drama has erupted. And I do disagree a little bit because even though I don't own it, the company still owns it. Like, it's still someone's property. And so I don't get to just take that. I just want them to be more honest about how they're selling it. And I want them to be held accountable because this is one of the honest purviews of government. Like, I'm such a limited government guy. This is one of the legitimate purviews of government, that when a company is deliberately being abusive in their practices, and that's when the government needs to step in and say, hey, no, you don't get to treat our citizens this way. Sorry. And hey, you know what, Trevor Lauren? Why don't we use that as a springboard to go ahead and jump into our show tonight? Because that is an excellent thing to talk about. Yeah, it's not just me ranting about different issues.
Oh, okay. Do you have a Christmas shirt on?
I do. I do. It's so comfy. Merry Christmas, you filthy animal.
Wow. Okay. Christmas in July, I guess, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so, and actually, was it Roberts was talking about, no, Josh was saying I love the Nintendo Switch, the Nintendo Switch 2 and their stuff, where they don't even want you to own your hardware anymore. They're saying that you're crazy. Basically just licensing hardware. Ooh, I got feelings about that. Thank you, Trevor. Merry Christmas to you too. But let's talk about our usual thing. Let me get the thing pulled up here, because we were just talking about buying physical media.
We were. Yeah.
Babylon 5 is on sale. The Blu-ray DVD, $52 right now. $52. Oh, is it just Prime?
It's just Prime members, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
They got their Prime days going right now.
Okay, I gotta test that. Let me pull up.
I believe so.
You're probably right on that.
Prime Day deal, yeah, $52.49.
I thought that was for. I mean, I knew it was a Prime Day deal, but I thought that you could get it even if you're not a Prime member.
Amazon Prime members.
Okay.
Although I believe they're giving a 30-day free trial to Prime right now. So
okay. But for reference, usually the lowest I've seen it is like 79 in that range. So
I think we've seen it around 70.
70 even. So it's about $20 off.
Yeah.
And this is all 5 seasons. None of the movies, sorry. But if you're looking for a time to have a physical copy of Babylon 5, which is, as always I say, my recommended way of doing this, guys, you're not going to get a better deal this year, I don't think. So I wish I got money from saying this, by the way. I wish. So my wife, she does these sales links on Amazon. Mm-hmm. And I have tried to figure out affiliate links. That's what they're called. I tried to figure out how I could put one in the description of this, because I do like pointing people to buy this. Like I think this is a great series. And I do honestly believe the best way of owning it is a physical copy.
I agree.
And so I've wanted to put stuff in there, but the way Amazon does their affiliate links, it is so weird. Every time I try to do it, Amy's like, "Oh, Matt, hey, actually, you could get me in a lot of trouble by posting it the way you did." I'm like, I just put it on the screen. She's like, "Yeah, but you include the price. You're not allowed to include the price." I'm like, "Okay, so I get rid of the price." "Well, you did this other thing. You used an image from their site. You're not allowed to do that." "Oh, you did this thing. You're not allowed to." So I don't do that stuff anymore. I don't even have affiliate links. And I still just say, guys, if you want a physical copy, best way of doing it, $52. Great price. Maybe you can find it on eBay cheaper. I don't know. But I
bet you won't, unless it's used.
Yeah. I once bought Trigun off eBay. It's an anime.
Okay.
The original Trigun anime. And it got here and I went, "Oh dear. I have bought bootleg."
Ooh.
And it was definitely someone had the original DVDs and they made a copy and they sold me the copy, and it was a little compressed, not horribly compressed, but it was obviously compressed. But I was like, ooh, I do not have a legitimate copy of this series. I don't have it anymore. I really felt guilty the whole time I had it because I had bought it in good faith, but it was definitely duplicated. So you can't trust stuff on eBay, unfortunately, but you can trust Amazon. You can trust that what Amazon is selling is not a bootleg copy.
Usually, unless it's an affiliate.
A used. Yeah. Yeah, K. Roberts. Yahar. And yeah, Josh was saying that Nintendo makes you pay $800 for the Switch 2, but you don't own the console. You don't own the console.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
It really is. Yeah, Josh is saying the price is too good as a trap. Oh yeah, on eBay. So I didn't think it was too good. I thought it was competitive. Like they found the perfect price. But I was also like 16 or 17. I was a little bit dumber.
No comment.
So I said dumb. I'm not saying I'm not dumb now. So hey, let's jump into this. Thanks for dealing with my rabbit trails and my tech issues.
That's why we come here.
Yeah.
Half of it anyway.
So we are watching season 3, episode 9, I believe.
You're correct.
And the name of this episode is the something of something. It is. I can do this. I can do this. It is okay. Messages from Earth was last time. Point of no return. It was
Point of no return. Yes.
Point of no return. Yeah. So I made a prediction last week. Jeff, do you remember what that prediction was?
Oh, I believe I do. So you had two ideas. One of them involved Londo and his point of no return with his own people, but you decided to go with the other prediction. So we're going to see that Zach is coming to a point of no return, a decision. He's going to either fall in line with the Night Watch or to throw his lot in with the people that he believes don't trust him anymore. While he's on the fence and trying to decide what to do, Garibaldi's actions will push Zach into the arms of the Night watch. There will be miscommunication, perhaps, or one of those momentary things that Zach will have the feeling that he has no trust with the people that actually distrust him. He will believe that the command crew are plotting against the president and are practicing sedition. And he will go to the night court, or night watch, and that will be the point of no return. And future guests, the White Star gets severely damaged by being outclassed, and they reach out to the techno mages to upgrade the White Star.
Absolutely. And yeah, Texas saying, where do you pay $800 for Switch 2? Josh saying that was what it cost at $800 in Texas, where he was. It was $800. Yeah, so I do not own a Switch 2. I'm not overly impressed with what it's offering at this point in time. We'll see. I own a Switch, just barely, like less than a year old, because I'm really behind the times. So anyway, let's get into this.
All right.
Hopefully you have come and joined us over in the streaming room, and this is only applicable for people who are here right now while the stream is live, and that's just so that all of our watch times are synced up within a second or two of each other. If you are here in the future, sorry, that won't work. You got to have your own copy. You can watch it for free on services like Roku, I believe is the one that's doing it right now.
Roku.
And Tubi TV. And those come with commercials, but it's free. And if you have Prime, then you can watch it on Amazon Prime for free with, I believe, no commercials.
I don't know. Are they introducing commercials yet?
I'm not sure. There are some. I don't know. I know that there are some commercials in Prime
it's
every now and then.
It's pretty crummy that you have to watch commercials on something you pay for. But.
Yeah. So yeah, you can do that for free, or like we already talked about, you can have the Blu-ray set, which is only $52 right now, and I think I saw the DVD was like $47. I want to say, yeah, DVD was $47, so that's a $5 difference. Get the Blu-ray, higher quality.
Yeah, if you got the Blu-ray drive, might as well.
Yeah.
Omni. That's only if you pay the premium price for Paramount Plus. And you still get commercials at the beginning, even if you are paying that premium price. Just saying. That's so weird. I think... Okay, hold on. Let me get the episode going, then I'll be distracted by this. If you don't want to sign up for another service, hey, I get it. You don't have Amazon. You don't want to sign up for Tubi. You don't want to sign up for Roku. Or maybe you're watching on your phone right now and I'm making you fall asleep, Thomas. I don't know. We got you covered once every 7 seconds, and I made this ahead of time this time so that yes, because last time I had the wrong video pulled up, and this time I got the right one. Speaking of Thomas, he's not here. He's been missing. According to Cinnabon, he was kidnapped by the Canadian Royal Mounted Police.
Oh dear!
And being held hostage. For what reason, I'm not sure. I can't quite figure that out. But
well, I'm sure he did something.
I don't know.
You know, my Uncle Jack was a Mountie.
Was he?
An upright, do-gooding guy. Tell you, he always catches his bounty, no matter how many crimes he had to commit. It's a song by Smith and Smith. The Red Green, as you may be aware of him.
Oh yeah, Red Green.
But yeah, so there will be a still image once every 7 seconds. So let's go ahead and jump into this. I'll give you a quick 3 countdown if you're here in the future and you want to sync up your own DVD, and hopefully everything just works. We'll find out. So 3, 2, 1, hit that play button, everyone. Okay, good. And there's the slides, exactly like I wanted. Okay, so 2 weeks ago, we saw that Veer was trying to give his summary of the state of the Minbari to the Centauri people. And Londo made this comment about how idealized it was. I've never seen such a bad report since this one guy. We almost decided like to make it so he couldn't have kids anymore, but then we realized who his wife was, and that would be pointless. And so now they're going over it again. He's been making revision after revision, and Londo is still just saying, no, this is horrible. And so he's basically telling him to use clickbait in his report. Mm-hmm. He's telling him to use certain phrases because it doesn't mean anything, but it gets people afraid. Works every time. And Josh wants me to get a mop and bucket out? Okay. And Londo is pointing out that intelligence has no place in politics.
That was JMS's one of his favorite lines in this episode.
And Bear is having a bit of a blow up at Londo.
He's standing up for himself.
Yeah. He said, I've been awake for, over a day. And I'm going to bed. And then, unfortunately, he doesn't get to go to bed because just then Londo gets a call. And so there's a guy who's going to come. The Emperor's third wife is going to come.
Former Emperor.
On her way to Rakesh 9, which we've heard of before.
First proper episode of the series.
Okay.
Midnight on the Firing Line. After the pilot.
When they say the Emperor, they don't mean the dead guy. They're talking about his nephew or son that replaced him. That's kind of a puppet emperor, right?
No. This is the one that passed away.
Okay. Okay, and so we just found out that this is taking place right as the last episode ended.
Yes. Good catch.
And so the people in Babylon 5 are in a state of uproar, humans and aliens alike, because martial law has just been declared by the Earth Force. Oh no. Oh, I guess what he would say. Someone just opened fire on the Senate building in the TV show. YouTube. Things are going on in TV show. So is this on Earth proper?
Yes, that's on Earth.
Okay. And so I missed what the guy was saying. Was he saying that they were rioting? That these were rioters, or was this the Earth Force opening fire on the Senate building?
Well, the president has dissolved the Senate. And, of course, there's martial law on Earth, and the senators are on the run. There's resistance going on. So things have gone basically to hell.
So the senators were performing a resistance against this illegal takeover of the Earth government, and the elite guard, the Earth Force, was coming in and quelling their rebellion, is what we were seeing just
I'm
there.
going to guess it's Night Watch that's taken over.
Night Force.
Excuse me, Night Force.
Night Court, if we want to go that far. Yeah, Trevor Lauren, how will he maintain control without the bureaucracy? Kate Roberts is saying that they are mostly peaceful, according to ISN News. Ah, I recognize that name.
I thought you might.
So Majel Barrett? Majel Barrett.
Barrett.
There we go.
Major Barrett. Yeah.
AKA
Roddenberry.
Yeah. One of Roddenberry's wife. Most notably, in my opinion at least, Troy. The elder Troy, the matriarch Troy. From
Laxana.
From TNG, DS9. I don't think she made any appearances in Voyager, which I think is kind of a missed opportunity on their part.
Of course, Christine Chapel.
And then also the ship's computer.
Yep.
Yes, daughter of the fifth house, holder of the rings of...
Holder of the sacred chalice of Reeks. A lot of voices on the animated series.
And Lieutenant Wentworth has oh, I think I'm hilarious. Lieutenant Wentworth here, he's asking, what did we do wrong? So the captain here is explaining what's happening, and he was, what did we do wrong? Why is the president doing this? And he said, I don't know. Sheridan, I just don't know. And so here we have Zach, and I really liked where they left him last week, where what's his name, Armstrong. The actor's name is Vaughn Armstrong. I want to say Vance Armstrong.
Yes.
He's just listed as security guard number 1. Vaughn Armstrong. So he's trying to get Zach to ask Garibaldi what's going on. So everyone is confused, or everyone on the Night Force is confused why Sheridan was missing for 4 days. This is abnormal behavior. It seems like maybe some sedition going on. And so he wants Zach to get in and figure out what's going on, potentially to get them all arrested. Zach is feeling torn.
Did you notice the poster on the wall?
I did not.
Traitors can't hide.
And so Garibaldi is releasing Jakar, who was singing, and in the last episode or episode before, when Garibaldi came by, he made a joke that there was a petition from the other cellmates to get him to stop singing. How many weeks ago? So Jakar just said that he had 3 weeks left on his assault on Malari. How many weeks ago was he put in jail? Because they gave him a limit of 60 days, I want to say.
I believe it was 60 days. Or what is that? 8.5 weeks.
So I feel like, I mean, we talked about how in general, each episode happens about 7 days from each other. And I'm curious if they are following that, or if we had a little extra time in there.
I think they contracted it a little bit.
Ooh, nice line. Okay, so
yes, good line.
One of the things that they oh wow, she doesn't look like her. But I hear the voice, but I can't see the face. Maybe when we're closer in on her face, I can see it better. But this is Majel. So he made this comment about, oh sorry, I got distracted. one of the things they touched on in the first season is that the female Centauris often are considered seers, that they can see the future. And we actually had an instance of that where Londo's aunt foresaw the death of her husband, I think it was. She talked about a great shadow. And so now Londo is saying that he's hoping that the Empress's third wife can basically read his fortune and tell him if the future that he saw is still intact. And Veer makes a comment, why? Because you want to make sure it's still going to happen? And Lana goes, no, I want to make sure that it's not going to happen.
Yeah, Texas is right. It was actually Lord Kiro's aunt.
Oh, okay. Hey, Gorilla, how you doing, by the way? It says, time to impeach Matthew. I'm nice enough to send people this way and don't even get a high.
Listen to this.
So this individual, his commander, somewhere in the chain of command above him, has just said that he suggests that he takes something of Sheridan's and buried in a deep dark hole where no one can ever find it. Oh, and security has just been handed over completely to Night Force.
Right.
And so has Garibaldi just been effectively relieved of command? And so Armstrong is saying that Night Watch is in charge of security, and Zach says, well, who's going to tell the captain? Because it's already been taken care of. And he's saying that your security team is going to consist of people already in the Night Force and anyone who wishes to join. And so it seems like this Armstrong guy has now done a bit of a coup in terms of security.
Opportunity.
I'm listening to the orders, Ish. And Armstrong here is saying that this is our chance, that they've given us the command, the authority, and the responsibility to set things right, and we need to make the most of it. And he says that as of this moment, Babylon 5 belongs to the Night Watch. And he actually made a comment, I think just last episode. Yeah, he's only been in 2 episodes. So last episode, he made a comment about how he feels like a god whenever he is inside the Night Force room. Because they have all these monitors set up, and they are secretly monitoring individuals. Like, the people don't know they're being observed. And he says it makes him feel like a god. And so this guy has been standing guard outside Jakar's quarters. This is
Talon.
He's the Narn that Sheridan saved, right?
Yeah. He also stood with Jakar when his leadership was tested after the Centauri attack takeover.
And so there we saw one of the security members joined up, and the next one, instead of taking the Night Force armband, took off his sidearm and left it. And Zach Zach is still in this position where he's like, come on, guys, it's just a job. Like, just roll with this. But the other security person, no, not going to do it. Walks off. And Garibaldi is saying that he's going to go down there and he's going to stop this right now. And Sheridan is trying to talk him out of it, saying that this is just an excuse they're looking for to completely oust you. But unfortunately, Garibaldi's too worked up and he's pressing on. It's good to hear her voice. It is good to hear her voice.
JMS wrote this character for her, presented it to her at a convention. She loved it and agreed to do it.
So she's asking Londo, why am I here? Why did you invite me here? And Londo tries to say, well, yeah, I just want you to see what the Alliance is up to. And she says, my husband, like, that's not why you called me down here. The Earthers have their own problems. This whole Alliance thing, this isn't what my husband wanted. So why have you brought us here? And Londo says, I need you to see for me. And he's saying, I feel as if I've been touched, or I know that I've been touched. I'm meant for something greater, but a greater light or greater good or greater evil, I can no longer say. I just want what's best for our people. I just want to know if there's even any longer a choice. And Majel points out that we say we have no choice only to comfort us about a decision that we've already made, which I think is a great line. But she said, I will honor your request. And that before she leaves here, she's going to give him his reading. Okay, I'm really curious to see how this is going to go. So Zach and Garibaldi are... Zach is begging Garibaldi, just put on the armband, play along with us. And Garibaldi is saying, will you listen? This isn't a game. You need to figure out what side you're on, and you need to figure out fast. Because maybe there's a point of no return coming quickly? And Garibaldi flips the table and says, you listen to me, all of you. He said, I took care of you. I looked after you. St. Pastorelli, I fixed you up with your wife. And Connor, when no one else would give you a break, I took you and I gave you a job. And Connor looks down, not willing to admit anything. He's just begging them to think. And Vaughn says, we just need to know where everyone stands. Are you with us? Or are you against us? And Garibaldi is saying, well, all of a sudden, us has become only those people who agree with us, and we're the rag around the arm, which is something we were talking about earlier. And he's saying, you've worked on this station, and you worked for me, and I'm asking all of you to drop this. And he said, if anything I've ever said or ever done has ever meant anything to you, then stop this. Stop this now. Which is, it's a fair point. And Vaughn says, as the acting in command of Night Force, you are relieved. Zach, you're now second in command. And he says, is this the way you wanted it, Zach? Is it? Yeah, K. Roberts, the hazard of group think versus team coherence. So I was going to say, by the way, one of the reasons I enjoy hearing Michelle's voice again, of all the Betazoids we got to see in TNG, I really liked hers the most. Like, Deanna Troi was such a one-note character. And the other Betazoids we got ended up being, just kind of here one week, gone the next, one-dimensional characters as well. Very rarely did you get a fleshed out individual when it came to Betazoids. Troi, she started off as someone to antagonize Picard and really grew from there, especially in DS9.
Yeah, can't disagree with that.
And Jakar, he's talking about what happened to him and how he could spend the rest of his life trying to explain what I felt in that one singular moment. And Jakar is saying that the more we fight only for ourselves, the more we will lose ourselves. That our face is like an image caught in the mirror, and that to deny one is to deny the other. Her character grew, Josh. Like in DS9, she really got a moment of character growth there.
Her relationship with Odo really fleshed out her character, I think. Uh-oh.
And the order has come in. Even on Babylon 5, martial law is effective immediately. Which really... In previous seasons, they made a point of talking about how much leeway the commander of the station had to reject this exact sort of order, because it would go against the foundation charter of Babylon 5, or the Babylon Project. Which really, I think, underlines and emphasizes like how far we've come away from that. Like how bad things have gotten.
Yes, Omni. General Haig is in conference with Admiral Layton.
Okay, so there's a civil war basically happening around the jump point of Io. And so there are certain elements in the military who are trying to call for everyone to rebel against President Clark. And yeah, and so the Hague manages to escape, and people cheer. And so, of course, immediately Earth Force tells everyone to disperse.
Oh.
And things aren't going well. Oh, Veer! Veer protecting the Empress ex-wife. I mean, way to go. A third wife. So everyone's pushing each other back and forth, and they start rioting. And so far, Earth Force is, or excuse me, Night Force is just using billy clubs. And interestingly, Zach is just standing there. Nice shot where he's witnessing his fellow Night Force people beating down the civilians, and right next to him is the TV of Sheridan talking, kind of showing how he's caught between this. And then a chair flies over his shoulder and busts the TV. Widow, thank you, Texas. The third widow. Hey, Arvik, how you been?
Hail, Arvik.
Jolon true, my friend.
Franklin's being optimistic.
And Franklin, Dr. Franklin, is saying to everyone, we just need to buy time. We just need to go along with this.
Chain of command.
Okay, I missed the important word during the communique. What was the command you get? Oh, we're gonna see it. Our job is to respect the orders of the commander-in-chief and obey the chains of command. He said, if you got a problem, I suggest you look at this as an opportunity, not a burden. Respect the chain of command. Which I have it on good authority from a man named Jace that is the chain that people use to beat you with until you realize that they're in command.
Look at those boots.
Very stylish. Jakar? Jakar. He says, Ivanova says, what are you doing here? He goes, saving all of us. I have an idea. And there's Zach, still struggling. He opens the door, and there's Garibaldi, Ivanova, Jakar, and he stops, and Sheridan pops up behind him. Get in. And so she asks for another cloth, and as he gives it to her, she has her seer vision. Her reading of him. Where, unfortunately, she still sees him on the throne, coughing. And Vaughn, he says, where you been? Where you been, Zach? This is so much fun. And Zach, which way he's going? He's saying I had a meeting, and it sounds like he's revealing what they told him. It sounds like he's going turncoat. I'm assuming this is a setup for Vaughn, but this could be the point of no return. This legitimately could be him deciding to trust Night Force. And so Jakar is, they keep having this meeting on the stairways. And so he's saying that in just a few hours, I'm going to need you in a way that I've never needed you before. And Sheridan, his lights are turning on. It's time for him to wake up. He's had a sleepless night, clearly. Zips up, buttons up, ready to go. Got some good drums going in the background.
Hmm.
And so the LA riot police here are gearing up. And Vaughn is saying that as soon as they had the proof that these Narn are being smuggled in, that we're going to arrest Sheridan and anyone else involved. I mean, okay, intellectually, I know this has to turn out just fine for our main characters. The show's not going to end. But I'm on the edge of my seat here.
You may be surprised.
I might be. Ah, there we go. Zach says now, and the blast doors close, and he rolls out there in a way that would make Geordie LaForge proud. And Garibaldi says, you did the right thing, Zach. And Zach says, he says, everyone keeps saying that. I don't know who's telling the truth anymore, but I think maybe you are. And he rips off the Night Force badge or armband. And Sheridan is saying, as of 3:15 p.m., I am placing you under arrest for the charge of attempted mutiny, basically. And he's pointing out that Night Force is nothing but a civilian agency outside the chain of commands.
The executive office is...
And he's pointing out that a senator and a governor cannot give you a direct order, and neither can a political office. And this is an illegal order. He said, we're going to try and get confirmation of this order through proper channels, but because there seems to be some issues with communication, this may take some time. And he's saying that we're going to keep you under custody. On the way out, you'll hand over your Link identicard and weapons. And we will keep you under guard in your quarters. He said, otherwise, have a pleasant stay. And he's saying, if I was you, I wouldn't try to use my weapons on the airlock. They are solid beryllium alloy, and Ricochet is a killer. And he says, Franklin, please stay on standby in case anyone disobeys my order and tries to blast their way through.
Yeah, Ricochet. Oof.
And Franklin, he said, this is going to cut our security force in half. Is anyone worried about that? And he goes, no, we got some help for a change. And all the Narns come out. The Narns have become the security force. I said, oh boy, Londo's going to love this. And the Widow Empress is saying, what we're about to say is for your ears only, and if you try to bring this up in court, we will deny it. Ooh. She's saying you have 3 opportunities to avoid the fire that awaits for you at the end of this. You must save the eye that does not see. You must not kill the one who's already dead. And last, you must surrender yourself to your greatest fear, knowing it will destroy you. And that's your final chance for redemption. You're saying you've already missed 2 of them. You still have 1 more chance to avoid the fire that awaits you.
No, he's missed 2. There are 3 more chances.
Oh, okay. You've missed 2. There's 3 more chances. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Because I was trying to figure out, okay, who is the eye? Who is the dead that must not be killed? So, and one more thing. And one more thing, you will be Emperor. That part of your destiny cannot be avoided. Oh. And so she looks at Fear and goes, you will also be Emperor. And he starts laughing. And she goes, why are you laughing? He goes, I thought you were joking. Well, say, we do not joke in the face of prophecy. So it is and he's saying, please, we can't both be Emperor. And she's saying that one of you will become Emperor after the other is dead, but both of them will definitely be Emperor. So was that parting line? We don't always see what we wish to see.
Right.
And Veer gives him a distrusting look. I'm going to have to go back and listen to those 3 prophecies again. Or the 3 opportunities to avoid his fate. And so she she gets onto the elevator next to, was it Talon?
Talon, yeah.
Talon. And kind of rolls her eyes. And apparently they've actually been able to reduce crime. And he goes, if there's anything else I can do for you, just let me know. And he goes, I want in. And this is actually the second time that he's brought it up. Once with Garibaldi, I believe. And he says, I'll have to bring it up with the others. And Jakar says, please do so. I have time. I have all the time in the world. Now the two of them are sitting in awkward silence, sitting far away from each other. And Lana goes, don't you have somewhere to go? He's saying, I thought your ship left soon for Minbar. And goes, no, that's tomorrow. Tomorrow. And Londo repeats the line, one of you will become emperor after the other dies. And Veer's prophecies, of course.
Nonsense.
I made some dinner. I'm not hungry. And Veer's saying, you're not saying you don't trust me anymore. I made your favorite. He goes, I'll order in.
He's not emperor yet, so why is he worried?
Yeah. And Josh is saying that the three prophecies were, you must save the eye that does not see, you must not kill the one who is already dead, and you must surrender yourself to your greatest fear, knowing that it will destroy you.
Uh-oh.
And they're saying that 4 of the 5 cruisers that defected with the General Haig, and I think they were saying his ship was the Alexander,
yes,
have been destroyed. And he's saying they'll be coming for us next. And I'd kind of hoped the Agamemnon was going to be one of the ships that had defected. But it seems like possibly not. And neither one of them are too thrilled about the current situation of things. So yeah. Oof. Turning point. I was not right.
Well,
I was right. It was about Zach, but I thought, wasn't my prediction that he was going to side with Night Force first?
You did, yes.
So I was right. It was Zach-centric. It was a turning point for him. I mean, obviously, there are a lot of turning points in this episode. But definitely. my end guess about it being him going to Night Force, I missed it on that part. But my secondary, I did guess one of the other plot lines, sort of. Can't really say that. I was going to say I guess it about Londo.
You said he would face a point of no return with his own people, where he would lose all he had.
Yeah, that wasn't,
his power and his stature. And no, it wasn't really that, but it was a Londo-centric episode to an extent.
Yeah. So I don't know, I'll give me a 30% on that one. I had some of the beats there, but yeah. I had them go the opposite direction. And yes, Josh, I get the mop bucket. For the things that hit the fan. No, I thought it was a reference to Majel and her relationship with Otto. I thought that's why I needed the Otto.
Ah, okay. I
Odo.
wasn't getting that.
Yeah.
And K. Roberts says, then Kefir swoops in to save the Alexander. We'll have to wait and see about that, K. Roberts. But I like that prediction. Otto, says Omni. Yeah.
Otto. Yeah. Odo. So Jeff, thoughts about the episode?
Oh my goodness. Where do you start with this?
Right?
Things are really heating up. You have martial law. You've got the Night Force. Seems like they're defeated on the station. You got Zach deciding where his loyalties are, get a little bit more of a crystal clear picture of what's going on with Londo and Fear to some extent. We also see Jakar get out of jail, and now he's helping with security and maybe getting into the Alliance.
Mm.
And I don't know if you caught it, but Dolores just got back from Minbar at the end of the episode. I wonder what she's up to.
Oh, I hadn't really paid attention that she wasn't there. Good point.
So, yeah, what do you think of the prediction from Lady Morella?
Okay. So you can add this to another one of those long-term predictions, right up there with what happens to the White Star.
Okay.
By giving us 3, to me, that implies that he's going to fail at least 2.
Okay.
Now, it's one of those things where, based on how those first 2 are worded, I imagine that it's going to be chronological. And he's only going to realize after the event happens that he failed to do it. Hey, John. So,
Hi, John.
At some point, you must save the eye that does not see. He's going to fail to do that. And after failing, all of a sudden he's going to see how that person represented the eye that does not see. Same with, you must not kill the one who is already dead. That after he does something, like for instance, let's say by kill, we mean like kill the memory of, erase the memory of this person. So it's someone who's dead in the past and he kills them by erasing their memory and or destroying their legacy, something like that. And then he's going to realize, oh no, I just killed the one who was already dead. And it's only the last one. The last one is the specific one. You must surrender yourself to your greatest fear, knowing that it will destroy you. That's going to be the one where he goes, this is it. I can 100% understand how this is the moment where I can choose which way I'm going to go.
So what's his greatest fear?
Oh, did they mention that? Have they talked about his greatest fear? I want to say we've mentioned in the past him literally saying my greatest fear is.
I don't know if they've really said that. Now, Omni is saying that he did save the eye in Signs and Portents in season 1. The first episode we saw Morden. Actually, it was Morden that saved the eye, if you want to get technical about it.
All right.
Is that the eye that's being referred to?
And is there going to be another moment for it to be destroyed?
So let me, well, could be, but let me throw this out to you.
Okay.
In the vision where we see Londo on the throne and he's being killed by Jakar, and he's also killing Jakar. If you watch that closely, Jakar's eye is not there. One of his eyes is not there. It's like it was
all right,
removed from his skull.
So yeah, a lot of different things.
So, could it be that eye?
Could be. Could be a political thing, a movement called the Eye. That's the fun thing about prophecy. Until it happens, you don't make the connection. And so just me knowing how narratives work in general, I see him failing the first 2. Because go ahead.
There's another possibility. Maybe it's not an I, but it's I.
The person, right?
Yeah, as in the letter I.
Okay, yeah, I was saying that I can see him failing the first 2.
If you follow the dialogue, Marilla says, you must save the eye that does not see. Londo says, I do not understand.
He doesn't see.
Do not understand. So maybe it's referring to Londo and not, an eye.
Yeah. Yeah.
So a lot to think about there.
There is. I am confident that these are all things that will happen, because she talks about how you've already had 2 chances that you failed. There are still 3 more opportunities for you to avoid your fate.
So what were the 2 that he failed?
Oh, she didn't say what they were, did she?
No, she didn't.
Now, logically, first, hold on. Let me finish this train of thought. So, the fact that she doesn't say that you must do all 3 of these to avoid it. She just says you have to do one of them.
Yes.
That implies to me that he's going to fail too. And then the big cliffhanger moment will be: will he choose to save himself, even though it will destroy himself, save the soul, destroy the body sort of situation? Or will he choose to not destroy himself? Which I imagine also, when it talks about destroying himself, it's probably more like reputation-wise, like losing everything that he's built up. Which, that would be a great way for Veer to become emperor. Like, he's emperor, he has everything, and he surrenders himself to that which he fears most, knowing that it will destroy him, in the sense of he loses everything, he becomes just a regular Centauri, no power, no nothing, and his soul is saved from it.
Citizen Londo.
Yeah. And then Veer comes into power. Something like that. Now, as for what he's already failed, logically speaking, there have been 2 opportunities, and that they are big, pivotal points in the series. One of them was, I think it was the end of season 1, where Sinclair talked about how they were at a crossroad, and he specifically got Jakar to turn away and saying, your people used to be farmers and now you're turning to warriors. So, and also Jakar's been on this theme for a while about how we are destroying ourselves, we're losing ourselves, this is a destruction of self. This has been a theme for the Narn people, like the entire series so far. And so in that episode where Sinclair said, you used to be farmers, you need to relent, and Jakar relents, right, and Londo pursues the deal with the devil, so to speak. I think that was this first moment to avoid his fate.
Okay. And not when the Emperor visits Babylon 5 and dies, and that's the moment that they seize power and go after Narn. That's not the moment?
Well, I think that was the second moment.
Okay, that's the second one? Okay.
That's just kind of those were 2 big pivotal points. Because the first point, he could have chosen to pursue peace. And instead, or was that the same episode?
No, they were not.
Okay. Yeah, so I think that was the first moment where he could have chose peace, and instead he escalates. Because that was a big pivotal moment in the series. And then the second one, I think, was the Emperor, because he had a moment to tell the truth. And instead he lied, and he said the Emperor supported what they were doing. And then he goes out with, I forget his name, the guy who's in charge now, basically. But he says, "What? Okay, that's not what the Emperor said. What did the Emperor really say?"
Sheridan?
No, it wasn't Sheridan.
The new Emperor.
Yes. The other Centauri.
Yeah.
Was it Lord Rifa?
Lord Rifa.
Yeah.
Reefer.
So
Reefer Omni. Yes. Reefer.
And then Lord Reefer's like, "Okay, stop pulling my leg. What did he actually say?" And he said, "We're both damned." Isn't that the quote?
Yeah. K. Roberts even put it in chat. You are both damned.
I thought he said we. Was it you? I guess I trust K. Roberts more on this one. On this one, I trust K. Roberts more across the board. Let's be honest, when it comes to my memory.
Lord Keffer in a Star Fury with a massive hairdress. Right, K. Roberts, right?
So yeah, I think those were probably the first 2.
Okay.
I
think one of them is with the Emperor. The other one I think is a little less clear. It could be what you're referring to. Where you
I don't think there was a more distinct moment where he could have avoided something. I mean, maybe by not making a deal with Morden in the first place, maybe not answering him at all. You know, what do you want? What do you want? Maybe that was the first moment.
Okay. That's a possibility. Texas has asked this a couple of times. What do you think the point of no return was?
Yes, thank you for saying this again, because I did see that and I wanted to comment on it, and I forgot. So I appreciate the reminder. So the point of no return, when Sheridan did a reverse coup, I feel like that was their point of no return. I mean, so you had several points of no return. Garibaldi, he had a point of no return when he flipped tables over. Zach had a point of no return when he yelled now and decided once and for all to stick with the captain. I feel like the metaphorical point of no return is referring to Londo's prophecies, where he is being told you have 3 chances before you hit the point of no return. But the most direct moment, I think, in this episode was specifically when they closed the blast doors. That was the moment when Sheridan really joined up with those rebelling against President Clark. He showed his hand at that point. There's no more question.
He showed his hand. Yeah.
He's not submitting, and they are now going to be treated as enemies as well.
Texas is agreeing with you.
Yeah, so yeah, he's working in the rules technically, but at the same time, like, that's not going to fly. The president's going to come down and be like, no, that was my official order. You're rebelling. Like, the president has definitely shown that he is a fascist, that he is an authoritarian government. He's not going to...
No.
Yeah, I know. He literally killed off the previous president. YouTube is going to have such a field day with this one.
Probably.
We're talking about Babylon 5. I'm not talking about real... I was talking about politics earlier. Gosh.
Well, you were.
Ooh.
But that was separate from all this.
My shirt says Merry Christmas. Please, YouTube.
Night Force is coming for you, says Omni.
Oh. But yeah, so President Clark is a literal power-hungry dictator. No amount of like, oh, I'm sorry, I was just following the rules. No, you've shown your hand. They're coming for you. It's going to be, you're out. I have my puppet guy in, firing squad time sort of thing. Omni's saying President Clark did nothing wrong. We just haven't heard his side of it. True. I mean, maybe the previous president was like even worse. I don't know. Yeah.
John says you might as well get a YouTube warning on your video. It's like a badge of honor these days. John got a message because of my comments on Jeopardy the other night.
Oh, really?
About global warming.
Oh, you said the words. You said the words.
I did.
I'll get a blurb.
I did. Well, that's what he got, was a blurb. Because we were talking about the flooding.
Oh, okay. No, I actually got a comment on one of my Delving into Voyager videos. Not from YouTube. There's a guy who was extremely angry at my 37s video. Where he said, I didn't delve into it, I just nitpicked, moaned, and kvetched. Except he didn't say kvetch. He said something more serious. And he said, you just need to turn off your brain and enjoy this. Like, this is an Emmy level TV show or something. And I tried to find it again, and I think he deleted it. I think he was very upset because, you know, in the beginning of the episode, I was pointing out, you know, in my usual sassy way about how they were awkwardly setting up the episode. But then after that, I started to talk about how much I love the landing sequence and how amazing this is and how cool this is and how was such an amazing moment at the end of the episode where no one left and how much I think this would have been the perfect ending to the season, how it was written that way. So I think like initially he's like, oh, I hate this sort of video. I hate that it's recommended to me. And I think he saw the rest of it and he's like, oh, okay, this guy isn't just nitpicking. He's actually talking about all the things he loves about it. And at the same time, like pointing out some logical inconsistencies in the series. Not out of a hate, but out of the fact that I love Voyager.
Voyager inconsistencies? No.
It's because of quantum, you know. If they weren't doing all this stuff in the quantum stuff, then there would have been zero inconsistencies. Every inconsistency is only because of quantum fluctuations messing with the time stream.
Warp particles.
Yes.
So who is the one that he must not kill, the one who is already dead? Who's the one that is dead that he must not kill?
So I already gave kind of a off the top of my head guess on that we're talking about legacies. And I think that in this episode, Majel made the comment about how Babylon 5 is a memorial to the Emperor, is mausoleum. I forget the exact wording she used, but she described how Babylon 5 is the place where her husband died and where his legacy ends. And so I kind of feel like it would make a logical sense for Londo to be destroying his legacy. And that could be killing the one that's already dead. You can also make some arguments maybe that Dolores's old mentor down on the planet, that in a certain aspect, Drock?
Isn't it Drock? Did I get it wrong?
Oh, I doubt you got it wrong. It's just for some reason it's not clicking in my head right. Okay, Drock. You could argue in a sense that he's dead.
Drawl. Excuse me. Drawl. I'm sorry.
There we go.
It's like...
Wow. You were hanging out with me too much, Jeff.
That's close. Missed it by that much.
So, I mean, it'd be a stretch to call him dead, but at the same time, he's being infused with this planet life force stuff. I mean, I don't know. That's a bit of a weak theory on my part. I admit it.
Well, let me throw out a couple of other ideas, unless you have any others.
No.
Could it be Chief Rod Sterling? He has been declared dead by the Earth Alliance. All right. I could certainly see how Londo might want to kill him off. And could it possibly be Jakar, who's we see is going to die at some point at the hands of Londo? And isn't when one of the early episodes, Londo makes a comment about how he is aware of the moment of his own death and he dies with his hands around Jakar's throat? Yeah, and we saw the vision of that. And that one doesn't seem to be going away. That one, it seems like he is on a hard path for that one. It certainly does. And it is certainly interesting to think how that could be turned on its head, where you're assuming that Londo is in the wrong at this point and Jakar is getting just revenge. But it's interesting to think, like, what situation could arise where Jakar is possessed or Jakar goes down a dark path. Because, I mean, they've already swapped once, so it wouldn't be outside the realm of possibility for them to swap around again or him to become a fallen prophet sort of person.
And so
Ooh.
for Londo to suddenly be on the right side and know that Jakar, who's become a Morden type individual, needs to be stopped in order to stop the advancement of the Shadow Spiders. So, I mean, I don't think that's what's going to happen, but that would be an interesting what if situation where it suddenly reframes the prophecy and how we're assuming it's going to come about into something completely different. And Josh is saying that we haven't seen the one that is already dead in a few episodes. Oh, no spoilers, Josh. Don't give me any, not even tangential stuff. I did also think about the Tok'ra sort of symbiotes, where whenever they merge with someone, that person is both themselves and not themselves. I remember how Duncan was saying, well, the part of me that was Duncan says this, the part of me that is, I forget the real name, I'm sorry, Tok'ra, says that. And they almost had this, that part of me is dead, but I still have access to their memory. So I'd be interested if there's another life form like that we'll see at some point.
Distinct possibility, I suppose.
Other people who are dead but not dead. Like it would certainly be interesting if someone were to die and then they were to use that medical device from a couple seasons back. And someone were to give their life up for that individual.
They're saying Ironheart in the chat.
Is Ironheart dead? Yes. He gave
Talia the gift before he left. And he ascended or something.
But then Talia ended up being a sleeper agent thing, and
yeah.
Yeah, Schrodinger's cat, dead but not dead. Yes.
So quantum, basically, is what you're saying.
But see, this is the fun thing about this is the fun thing about prophecy written well. When prophecy is written well, it will happen, and I will go, "Oh, of course! Oh, of course! It was that. How could I not have known it was that? It is clearly that." And until it happens, I'm not going to see it. Like at most, it will be about to happen. I'll go, "Oh, Jeff, that's the thing. But more likely, I'll be like, what's this? And then they'll spell it out for me, and I'll go, oh yeah, now I remember the eye. You gotta say the eye, the unseeing eye. Dead but not dead sounds like this new Trek. Yeah. And that's true.
Franchise.
Talia's original personality is dead, if it ever was a thing at all. So, lots of good options out there. Lots of good possibilities. In terms of this episode, fantastic.
Oh, yeah. The writing is so good right now.
I love Veer is that he's going to be Emperor. And for the record, I'm assuming that he's Emperor after Londo.
Possibility.
And I like how they are laying the foundation right now in this report for the sort of Emperor he would be, and all the things that he is focusing on, and that he'd be moving the Centauri toward an age of understanding of other races, and how that would lead them to prosperity. I think that's fantastic.
I like how he was standing up to Londo early in the episode, even before he knew that he would one day become Emperor.
Yeah.
They seem to be more equal than they used to be.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, he was a little grumpy on sleep, but
True.
that persisted even after he'd gotten to sleep. He had that comment where Majel was helping him with his injury, and she made a comment to Londo like, get another cloth, and he goes, yes, get another cloth for us. This guy, this little,
That was great.
It's just a little sassy moment that he wouldn't necessarily have done to Londo. Definitely not in the first episode we saw of him.
Oh no, definitely not. No, he's grown a lot in the series.
And Texas, Rick Riordan, the author of The Light and Thief and the Percy Jackson series, yes, he did a great job at writing prophecies. And I will say, I feel like the reason he did well and the reason that JMS is undoubtedly going to do well is that they planned the series out ahead of time. And then they said, okay, I know exactly what's going to happen. So I can write a prophecy to fit what is already going to happen. And it won't be evident until afterwards. Like, if you're just kind of making everything up as you go, then you have to shoehorn in the prophecy. And like, oh yeah, I got this prophecy out there. How am I going to fix it? I guess this happens. But when you actually know what's going to happen, you can actually take the time to create a cryptic prophecy that really lands well. And yes, Veer has had just amazing. I'm not sure if I'd say the best growth. He's had fantastic growth. I've really enjoyed Jakar's.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I think Jakar's had more growth. In fact, we kind of see that growth in this episode because he's talking about that he's been inspired from his experience in Dust to Dust, that now he believes that humans are the key to the salvation of the Narn race. He believes that the Narn must give up their pride and their vengeance or risk being completely destroyed, and that his people must sacrifice themselves by the hundreds or maybe even more if all are to benefit in the end. So he sees the Narn in being a part of the solution, and not, a separate entity to overcome its enemies, the Centauri. They have a piece in the bigger pie, if you will.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I think he's grown. He's becoming this spiritual person, more so than we saw, let's say, in season 1, where he led that ceremony. But I think so. I think he sees where he needs to go. He knows his path a lot better now, and how to save his people. It isn't through vengeance and revenge. It's more on becoming part of a greater community.
Now, on the prophecy stuff, did JMS ever weigh in on what the first two were?
The ones that he missed. He did not, but pretty much the speculations that you came up with are what the fans have come up with too.
Okay.
And Melphus is right. I don't know if you heard this, Matthew. JMS is living in the UK, and he is a citizen there, and he wants to helm Doctor Who. He wants to bring it back and restore it to what it used to be.
Good luck.
Advocating for that. So yeah, I don't know if he'll be able to do that, but it'd be interesting to see his take on the show.
I've long said that the new shows on TV we have right now, be it Doctor Who or Star Trek or whatever, they tend to be so focused on presenting a message that they forget to write a story. And
yeah, you're dead on that.
And unfortunately, a lot of Christian media falls into the same shortcoming, where
I can see that.
Like, I'm trying to think of a good example of it. There's been a lot of just TV shows where they're like, hey, and this is a noble thing, like, to present the gospel message, super important. I have no problem with that. But when they almost make it where the Christian isn't allowed to be seen as flawed so that that person can be the vehicle for the message. And I wish Christians weren't flawed, but we are. And when you
They definitely are.
When you create a flawless character to present a message, then like you forget to write the story around it.
Mm-hmm.
And so modern TV shows are falling into the same shortcoming that many Christian works have had, where they forget to write the story.
Oh, that's
Now,
very true.
I would be very interested to see what JMS would be able to do if they just gave him free reign, where they said, you know what, come in here and you get to do what you want to do. That said, I think that the current climate of the BBC is such that you cannot write stories without including, quote unquote, the message. Which, if you're not familiar, that's literally something they talk about. Right. It's not even hidden. They talk about like you have to include the message, and the message is the quote unquote what we'd call pro woke stuff. With the special of David Tennant who came back, and Donna Noble berated him for saying, well, you'd never be able to understand this as a male presenting Time Lord. That's the message. It didn't matter that he was Jodie Whittaker 5 seconds ago. The fact that he's David Tennant again, like, oh, you can't understand this suddenly. Like, okay, let's not go overboard here. So I don't know. And Texas is saying that JMS, he may have gone pretty woke too. You just don't know. Even if he hadn't, I just don't think he'd be allowed to have the reign he'd need to save Doctor Who at this point.
It probably needs a rest again until the political climate changes.
Josh is saying that she says you will waste the first 2 chances, not that he had 5 total chances.
No, I took it, Josh, that he's already wasted 2 and he has 3 left. And failing the first 2 of those 3, his last one is to sacrifice himself. Is that how you took it, Matthew?
I'll have to listen to it again. My initial thought, I'm trying to think, because I definitely misunderstood it at first. Because I had taken it that he had 3 total chances. He had already missed 2 of them. And here's the total 3 prophecies. And I was trying to figure out how that would work. Because I was like, wait, so he's already failed to save the eye. He's already killed the one that should not be killed. So I was trying to figure out how that worked. And then you point out, no. Those are 3 things that haven't yet happened. Okay, Texas is saying her exact words were, you will have 3 chances to avoid the fire. You have wasted 2 already. So and that's prophecy speak for you, which makes it kind of hard to interpret. But I think Jeff, you're right on this. That she's saying you will in the future you will have 3 chances, and in the past you did fail 2. It's just written in it's written in prose, so it sounds beautiful. Yeah, but it's a little clunky.
I could see how you could interpret the other way too. And Melphus is saying he has 3 chances left.
And Texas, I agree with you, by the way. I think that if Jesus stood before us, he would speak the truth and we would not want to hear it. At least many people wouldn't. Because that's exactly what happened when Jesus did stand before us on earth. He spoke the truth. The Beatitudes, Matthew 5, he said, you have heard it that a man shall not kill another man, I tell you that anyone who has anger in his heart has already committed murder. And he said one about marriage. He said, any man that you've heard it said, do not commit adultery, but I tell you, anyone who looks at a woman with lust in his heart has already committed adultery. And the disciples go, dang, man, it'd be better not to ever get married then. And Jesus says, yeah, this is God's standard for marital relationships. And it was blowing the disciples' minds. And they were people who actually believed in him and were following him. And the Pharisees were just furious. Or the religious leaders in general. So yeah, I think that, and Josh is saying, you keep forgetting there was the eye from season 1. Yeah, so the Centauri artifact or Centauri regalia item, wasn't it? Something to do with the emperor.
There was some historical significance to it. Josh, I would argue about that eye. Londo specifically did not save it. It was Morden and the shadows that saved it. He thought it was gone. He was,
when the ship blew up.
He was just flabbergasted that it suddenly appeared with Morden.
So all in all, Jeff, amazing episode.
Oh yes, and it just gets better.
I really enjoyed that this episode started where the last one ended. That Veer and Londo were having their discussion, and as they stepped out, you found out that's right when martial law was declared. And so you kind of got to see how everyone else was impacted in that moment, instead of it picking up like, okay, martial law has been declared and now everyone's reacting. Like it made it feel much more integrated this way.
Yeah, it did. It's one of those rare instances where this episode picks up from practically where the last one ended.
Mm-hmm. So actually, I need to get the episode list pulled up here.
One last point.
Okay.
Point of No Return is also the season title for season 3.
Okay.
So there is a sync up there.
Now, what is the title names for season 1 and 2? Do you remember?
I'd have to go back and look. And probably somebody in the chat's going to get it before I am.
Okay, next week is going to be season 3, episode 10, Severed Dreams.
So season 1 was Signs and Portents.
Okay.
Season 2 is The Coming of Shadows, and now we have Point of No Return for season 3.
Okay. And I can see how that works. Signs and Portents, we're gearing things up in the universe. People are starting to be aware of the shadow spiders. The Coming of the Shadows, that's when the Centauri, made their bed with the shadow spiders. And they started to spread out and exert their influence. And now we're at the point of no return, where we know that excuse me, we know that the existing Earth government has also aligned themselves with the shadow spiders. I would not be at all surprised if Morden asked President Clark, "What do you desire?" And
what do you want?
What do you want?
Never ask that question.
So I could see that as a universe in general, we are hitting the point of no return, where, before it's kind of like, hey, they're going on, the shadows are in the background. they're gathering power. We're gathering power. War is looming out there. But there was still this opportunity where if they could stop them enough, where they didn't have the ability to mount their forces, it could be forestalled. And I feel like now we're hitting the point of no return, where it's no longer a question of like if the Shadow War starts here, but when. And we seem to be on the precipice, because they actually mentioned, I think in the last episode, about how they were seeing in sector 300 or 800 or something, the Shadow Spider ships arraying along the Centauri border in some sector.
I think we got 2 references to that last couple episodes, or maybe 2 of the last 3.
Yeah. So definitely hitting some points of no return here.
Yeah, things are ramping up for sure.
Okay, so next week we're going to be Severed Dreams, and I could see this happening again 2 ways. So bear with me on this, and I'm actually going to say that you're going to have what is literally happening, and I think that what's literally happening is that we're going to have a something going on with Psy-Core, and that we're getting a Dreamwalker sort of person. Wait, did we have a Dreamwalker? Is that something that actually exists in this universe? Deathwalker. No, Dreamwalker. Yeah. So I think we're actually going to have someone who is able to get into people's dreams and is attacking them in that dream state. So I think that's going to be the literal application of next week's title. Metaphorically, I think that we're going to see someone having their dreams cut off. Like they had a path that they wanted to be going toward, and that path is going to be blocked. The question is who? I do not have a good candidate for that right now, to be honest. Because we just had a very Londo episode.
We did.
And not only would it not make sense to have another Londo episode so quickly, but we just got confirmation that his dreams are absolutely not being severed. He's going the distance. So it wouldn't make sense for him to have his dreams severed. I don't feel like it would make sense for Jakar to have his dreams severed. Garibaldi's in a good spot right now. You know, the only person who I feel like is kind of in a precarious position is our good Dr. Franklin. That he's got some STEM issues going on. And I'm not talking about science, technology, engineering, and math. He's been using the stimulants. And I'm going to guess that he has a crisis around this. And because of his abuse of the stems, it's gonna cut off maybe his ability to do doctor stuff. You'd only do that, I think, if you're writing him out of the series completely. I don't recall him talking about any dreams he's had, but I think that he's going to kind of have a loss of trust moment. Specifically with Garibaldi, because Garibaldi had that moment where he tried to do an intervention with them, and he's like, "Hey, me and alcohol, you and stems, we gotta be careful." And Franklin threw it in his face, and then he lied about having it under control when in fact he was abusing the stems. And so I think that we're going to come to a head with him using stems. Garibaldi is going to be crushed. His trust between them is going to be broken, and we're going to have some severed dreams. And Wizards Don't Wear Pants is saying, I predict Matthew will wish he brought a change of underwear and had taped his socks to his ankles. We'll find out.
I think John's excited about your idea of Franklin being written out of the series.
No, I don't think Franklin's going to be written out of the series. I think that would be.
I think he wants it.
No, okay. You think John wants it?
Yeah, I think John wants it.
I do think that if for some reason they need to have the actor playing Franklin leave, I think that the stems usage would be the best way of doing it. And I think that exactly what I just laid out would 100% be the way to do it. But I don't think that's where they're going to go with it. I think that this is just going to be a momentary loss of trust, and we're going to have to see him building that back up moving forward.
K. Roberts, that would be the Pakmara. He asked, the Narn replaced security roles, so which race will become the new doctors? The Pakmara.
Well, guys, thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight and all my rabbit trails and discussion stuff we did. Excellent episode. I can't wait for next week when we will watch Severed Dreams.
It's going to be fun.
Thanks for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please be sure to hit that like button and share it with your friends. If you haven't subscribed yet, I hope you will. And be sure to hit that bell icon to be notified of all the updates I do on this channel. If you want to support the work I'm doing here, then I hope you'll consider becoming one of my Patreons, where you'll get early access to all kinds of videos. And until the next time, may the Lord bless you and keep you. May he cause his face to shine upon you and be gracious to you. May the Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. Amen.